Chapter 31. It was 8:30 on a Monday morning and Elliot's new puppy had just peed in the corner of the lobby, right next to the foot of one of the few guests still staying here. Said guest was not amused. His brother was arguing, quite loudly, with the drywall guy who apparently had mismeasured and not delivered enough. Jack was too busy flirting with Gabe to be of any help. Gabe was flirting right back, which was lovely and all for Elliot's friend, but not really his top priority at the moment. They'd found asbestos in the walls of the motel-style rooms. Mary and Joseph didn't like his designer's choice of wallpaper for the new luxury suites in the main building, and Elliot had to be the one to tell her that. His designer did not take notes well. The electrician was supposed to come yesterday, and he hadn't shown up or called. But the mayor did call to tell Elliot he'd had a dream that the inn should lean into a strong nautical theme, which was definitely not happening. Today's muffins were orange cranberry. Elliot hated orange cranberry. But Daisy had just walked in with her flowers for the lobby so the roof could fall on his head, and Elliot would still call it a good morning. He was a besotted idiot. "Hey," he said from his crouch on the floor where he was sopping up dog pee with a towel, as Goldie ran around Daisy's ankles, yipping like a deranged puppy. She had certainly woken up over the past few days, and his sleepy baby had turned into a high-strung nightmare. He shouldn't have brought her here, but she cried every time he left, and all night long for that matter, and she should be in her crate behind the desk, but she cried there too, so he let her out for just a few minutes, and this was how she repaid him. "Uh-oh," Daisy said, putting the flowers down on the nearest table. "What did you do, baby girl?" She kneeled down to pet Goldie, who responded by spinning in delighted circles before trying to climb Daisy's body to aggressively lick her face. This dog had no chill, but Elliot kind of felt the same way around Daisy, so he understood. "You can't do that on the carpet. That's bad. Single quotes. Daisy couldn't finish her admonishment, because she was giggling too hard at Goldie's attempt for a kiss. Daisy gave up and sat on the floor and let Goldie get her fill before she ran off to cause more trouble. "Dog dad life not going great?" she asked with a wince. "We're still working out some of the kinks, like house training, and sleeping through the night. Yikes. Good thing she's cute," Daisy agreed with a laugh as they both got up off the floor. Elliot went to toss the towel in the laundry and wash his hands, and by the time he got back, Daisy was happily chatting with Jack and Gabe at the front desk. "It seems kind of silly to keep bringing in flowers," Daisy said, gesturing to the plastic sheeting draped up behind Jack to keep the dust from the construction from drifting into the lobby. "We still have guests staying in the main building, and they deserve your beautiful blooms," Jack said. "And besides, Mary and Joseph are so busy paying for all this, I barely notice a monthly flower budget, so take the win." He winked and Daisy laughed. "Thanks, Jack. That reminds me," Gabe said, running a hand through his artfully messy hair. "Can you come and look at something Tide? I wanted to get your opinion on it." Jack's face flushed red, and he was out from behind the desk in a second. "Sure, yeah, of course." Gabe grinned. Daisy raised her eyebrows at Elliot as the two walked away, their shoulders brushing together and Jack's laughter echoing in their wake. "What's going on there?" Elliot rolled his eyes. "They sneak away at least several times a day to make out, and I'm sure other things I don't need to know the details of. Wow, scandal at the inn. Jack's had a crush on him for months, so it's kinda sweet." "That is sweet." Daisy took a quick glance around the empty lobby, before pinning Elliot against the desk and wrapping her arms around his neck. "You're sweet too, Elliot, am I?" "Yes, and I can't stop thinking about you." "Oh." The one-syllable sound was the only thing he could make come out of his mouth after his brain stuttered to a stop at the feel of Daisy's body in his arms. "A lot." She brushed her lips against his. "I can't sleep." Elliot breathed her in. "Roses and sunshine." His fingers flexed against her hips, and she whimpered. "Actually," she whispered, her lips brushing the shell of his ear. "I thought about you last night while her voice dropped even lower like she was confessing to him, "while I touched myself." "Fuck, Daisy." He groaned and she giggled, breathy and sweet. "I can't believe I just said that." "Me neither. But He squeezed his eyes closed before confessing, "I do the same. I think about you, Daisy, far too often." Being near Daisy had become his new favorite type of torture. He wanted nothing more than to be with her, but being with her only made him want her more. His hand and his imagination had seen more action in the last few weeks than they had in years. She hissed out a needy little sigh, and Elliot thought he might die. Or come on the spot. Or possibly both. I think I'm losing my mind. I've never wanted someone like this, he finished for her. Yeah, she said, her lips tracing his jaw, his neck. So, I think we should I think we need to. Elliot, you can't let this dog wander around a job site. The sound of his brother's voice broke them apart like they were teenagers caught making out behind the school. Caleb stomped out from behind the plastic shield carrying a squirming Goldie in his arms. His disapproving face and obnoxiously huge frame was a very effective mood killer. Oh, is this the famous Daisy? Caleb asked, switching from aggravated to charming as soon as he spotted a beautiful woman. Elliot cleared his throat, trying desperately not to look as wrecked as he felt. Yes, this is Daisy, and I'm sorry about the dog. I'll crate her. Caleb handed over the puppy and held a hand out to Daisy, who was half hidden behind Elliot, like she was still recovering from their confessions. He knew he sure was. It's nice to finally meet you. In person, I mean, Caleb said. Daisy took his hand. Nice to meet you too. Caleb flashed the smile that had no doubt gotten him into bed with every woman he'd ever chosen, but Daisy's gaze flickered to Elliot's. She gave him a secret smile before turning back to his brother. She really was perfect. How's the work going? She asked. Oh, a new disaster every day. But that's pretty standard, right, Al? He said, smiling at Elliot now. Elliot had to admit that despite all the usual hiccups that came with major renovations, things between him and his brother were going quite smoothly. He'd almost forgotten how well they worked together. Their opposite personalities helped them fill in where the other one was lacking. They were a good team. Yep, always something. Elliot was about to put Goldie back in her crate, but something was odd. Is she breathing funny? He put his head closer to Goldie's little body, and she licked his cheek. Daisy leaned in close too, her forehead creased in concern. She does sound a little wheezy. Do you think she swallowed something? Caleb asked. Or maybe she just breathed in too much dust. It's a real mess back there. To his credit, Caleb did not say. He told him so, which Elliot appreciated. He felt bad enough as it was. Shit, I don't know. I took my eyes off her just for a minute. Daisy looked immediately guilty. She'd make a terrible criminal. Maybe we should call the vet? She suggested. Good idea. He was the worst dog dad ever. Daisy snuggled Goldie, humming a little song to her, while he made the call. Lucky for him, Dr. Vivian was in the area, and said she would stop by. The vet is on the way. I'm sure it'll be fine, Caleb said, giving him a hearty pat on the back. The three of them went into the back office to wait for the vet, and Goldie was delighted by the extra human attention. They all ended up sitting on the floor, letting her run between them, soaking in all the head scratches and tummy rubs. It's possible we overreacted, Elliot said as Goldie growled and attacked Caleb's work boot. The puppy did not seem to be in any distress. Caleb shrugged. I needed a break anyway. How are you liking Dream Harbor? Daisy asked. His brother had decided to stay at the inn while they worked. He'd rented out his house in New York and moved to town. Mary and Joseph wanted to keep at least part of the inn open for guests, so they were working in sections. At the moment, Caleb had a room in the main building. Elliot had offered him the guest room at his house, but ultimately, they decided working together was enough. They were just starting to mend their relationship. Living together would have been too much. Elliot was glad they were getting along, but he still needed time alone at the end of the day. It's quirky. I like it, Caleb laughed. I feel a little like, it's nice. I'm being interrogated every time I go for coffee, but yeah. Daisy rolled her eyes. Yeah, they'll get tired of you eventually, but this town loves to vet its new inhabitants. Unless you're lucky enough to fly under the radar, she added, winking at Elliot, and he liked the way she made his quietness sound like a superpower. Caleb's gaze flicked between the two of them. So, how are things going between you two? Things are going great, Elliot was quick to answer, not wanting Daisy to have to deal with his brother's questions. The way Caleb was studying her, Elliot was afraid he sensed something was odd about this whole thing. Head always seemed to have an extra sense when it came to Elliot, like he knew when something was off about his brother. Daisy sat up straighter. Are you going to give me a lecture about not breaking your little brother's heart? Caleb grinned. Maybe. Daisy leaned into Elliot's side. I won't, she said it too. Caleb, but Elliot felt like she was promising it to him. Good, Caleb said. Because Elliot deserves to be happy. I agree. Elliot could feel his damn face heating. Can we stop? Talking like I'm not sitting right here. Of course, Daisy said, nudging his shoulder again. Anything to add? His brother was studying him, his brow furrowed like he really was trying to figure out if Elliot was happy, like he wanted him to be. Caleb could be a giant pain in the ass, but it was always out of love, so unfortunately, Elliot couldn't be too mad about it. No, just that I won't hurt you either, he said, turning to face her, not caring that his brother was still studying them like he was trying to crack some secret code. Daisy smiled at him. I know, good. Glad to hear it, Caleb said, standing and brushing the dirt from his jeans. Apparently, he was satisfied for the moment that Elliot wasn't ready to retreat from humanity again anytime soon. I guess I should get back to work. Let me know what the vet says. Elliot and Daisy stood too. Right as there was a knock, Goldie immediately started barking in, on the door. Excitement. I'm happy she's not scared of the vet yet, Dr. Vivian said as she stepped into the office and was greeted by an exuberant puppy. Thanks for coming, Elliot said. We may have overreacted, but she got into the worksite for a minute, and she was wheezing a little. Okay, no worries. Let's check you out, sweet girl. Vivian scooped up the puppy and put her on the table they usually used for lunch breaks. Caleb was still frozen by the door. I thought you were going back to work, Elliot said, startling Caleb out of his blatant perusal of the vet. He ran a hand through his hair like he was trying to neaten it, after it had been under a hard hat all morning, and Elliot nearly laughed out loud. No, I thought maybe I should fill the doctor in, since I found the dog and all, right? Of course. Elliot looked back to where Daisy and Vienne were chatting over the squirming puppy. The vet was cute, small and curvy with dirty blonde hair pulled back from her face as she worked. He'd just met her a few days ago when he brought Goldie in for her first round of shots. Elliot wasn't sure he would have noticed she was attractive, especially not with Daisy standing right next to her. But with his brother staring at her like a man starved, Elliot could admit she was pretty. So, are you going to talk to her? Elliot prodded, and Caleb fixed his hair again. Yeah. Yep. Elliot had never seen his brother nervous to talk to a woman before. Or nervous for any reason really, and it was quite entertaining. He walked over to the table and Caleb followed. Vivian, this is my brother Caleb. He found Goldie, wandering around where she shouldn't have been. Nice to meet you, Caleb barked, far too loud for the small space. Vivian's eyes widened. Hi, nice to meet you too. Vivian the vet, he said, emphasizing the V sound. I'm Caleb the contractor. Emphasis on the C sound that time. Secondhand embarrassment coursed through Elliot's body. Was this why Caleb was always so worried about him? Was it this painful to watch him interact with other people? Huh, yeah, Vivian said, politely humoring him, and Caleb winced. Elliot, what's wrong with your brother? Daisy whispered too, I don't know. I think he's malfunctioning, Elliot whispered back, and Daisy giggled. So, did you notice the puppy ingesting anything? Vivian asked, getting back to business. Tarp, no. I just saw her wriggling around under a paint. Vivian nodded as she examined Goldie, bringing her stethoscope to the dog's chest. Do you want to hold her for me? She asked Caleb, who took the squirming puppy in his hands. Thanks, Vivian said. Their fingers tangled in the dog's fur as they wrestled her into submission, and their gazes locked. The sparks were practically visible. Even Goldie stilled. Daisy smiled at Elliot, her eyebrows rising as though she was saying, Are you seeing this? He definitely was seeing this. His brother was staring at the small-town vet like he'd never seen anyone like her. Interesting. Elliot cleared his throat and Vivian snapped out of it, quickly returning her focus to the examination. Don't hear anything too serious. You're probably right about the dust, but if she still sounds like this in a day or two, you should bring her in for an X-ray. Just to be safe, of course, Elliot said. I really appreciate you making a house, and call. Vivian shrugged, dutifully avoiding Caleb's eye now. It was no trouble. I was in the area. Are you in the area a lot? Caleb asked, his brain apparently coming back online. I'm here for the next few months, at least. He flashed her his charming smile. Maybe we'll see more of each other. Oh dear God, did he just wink? There must have been something about his shift in demeanor, the too practiced nature of that smile, that wink that Vivian didn't like, because the moment they'd shared seemed to evaporate. I'm pretty busy, she said, packing up her bag. Right, Caleb said, his smile dimming. Of course, me too. I bet you are, she said, slipping past him and out the door. Daisy followed her out. What the hell just happened? Caleb asked, and Elliot couldn't help his chuckle. I think she just saw right through you. What do you mean? Elliot shrugged. She didn't like that charming bullshit thing you do? What charming bullshit? Women love that charming bullshit. Elliot laughed as he walked out of the office, leaving Caleb behind. Not that woman, apparently. He said over his shoulder and left Caleb stewing over the rejection. He didn't have time to worry about his brother right now. His dog was fine, and now he needed to find Daisy and continue that very interesting conversation they were having earlier.